And they recorded a lot of our shows out there in our first initial going to San Francisco. That was the first time because when we went, we used to really play other people's songs mainly. And then when we see the crowd reaction to, remember we were there as a backing band for Dennis Brown, Toots and the Maytals and some other groups. And when we really kind of see the reaction of the people, we said, well, we have to go back and start to write our own songs. And I must say that the first man that really carried us in the studio in that direction with Jacob was Earl Chinna Smith, Chinna. And with Chinna we made Tenement Yard, we made Tired for Liquid, Bush, all the first. You know, we and Chinna come together and vibe it, you know.
That's good stuff. Well, I appreciate getting to hear those stories about it. And the really cool thing on the phone, thanks for telling me about the PNP tour too, when you went around Jamaica.
Those things, because that was the beginning of the political change. You see, politics in the world, a man have to realize, you know, that democracy is something when a man says democracy. That's, to me, is still a vague way. America, after what, 200 and something years, is still trying to find its way within a real, truly democratic situation.
Still trying to sort it out.
Still trying to sort it out, as them say. Because when you have democracy of people's way and people's so-called freedom tie up in religion and money, yeah, a dangerous mix. Because all the religious people have lots of money. The Pope of Rome is not poor, but the Pope of Rome's constituency, 90% of his constituency is poor. Mexico, Philippines, Latin America. And you sit in Rome, and every time you come to these places, it costs them millions of dollars. Poor and poor people. And the main thing about life and God and everything is people. Because without people, what is there? So the basic thing is that I don't understand, looking from my humble point of view. I really don't understand. You tell me one preacher man that you know on TV and which preacher organization you know that is not poor, that is not rich. They are all rich and powerful. Then they put their stock into politics.
And real estate.
And real estate. You understand me? So when the man says he's free, so them come to Jamaica and they try to tell us the same thing. They come into Africa, they're trying to tell him the same thing. I have seen on television where the African man is hands dripping with the fish, with the oil in the river that he cannot fish in. And holding up his hand and saying he wish God had never blessed his country with oil.
That's harsh.
There you go. Because what does it ever benefit him? And when you look over the fence, there is a golf course and beautiful air-conditioned homes for the expatriate man who don't come from his country, pumping the oil out to make billions and billions. The oil there, the Koch brothers have the patent under the daddy to turn hard crude into gasoline. Many of these countries don't have those refineries. So the oil leave these countries for little or no money, and then when it come back as gasoline, they have to pay the highest price. You would figure it being there, you know, it is never productive. Africa is tantamount to be in a home full of money, and everybody in the home is hungry. And nobody can tell me that there's not a racist tint or a racial tint to it.
It's still so ongoing. It's terrible the way that continent has suffered.
What they tell you is that, oh, it's the leaders of Africa that are wicked and to the people. But when the leaders of Africa go in, they are only human beings. Just like what happened in America here. One man over here is Republican, one man is Democrat, one man a fight against man. This man is people going and make a man fight against. It's to the point of sometime I am watching there on television like hatred. Man, hate.
The divisiveness, it's out of control. I think younger Americans really see what you're talking about even more than ever.
Then the 1%, and the man walk around on democracy. I am here to tell you one thing, because I can talk it, because I have seen it. You cannot force so-called democracy down people's throat. Because when you mention the word democracy to me, it means for the very rich and powerful. And that is what happened to my country, so I understand it. Because the rich and powerful have the money to run the election, to run this, to have the media, to tell the people how it goes. Whenever you have a man who comes in that way, he's a bad man, and he's a wicked man, and he's not a democratic man, and he's not the... come on, man. Come on. Women cannot even drive in Saudi Arabia.
Bro, outrageous over there with what in the whole part of that world that women can't do a lot of things like that.
So but you don't go over there and beat up the man like how they would beat up Jamaica and beat up the guy. In Jamaica we say, the duppy know who to frighten. In other words, the ghosts know who to frighten. So they are not going to trouble certain people and trouble so. So when a man really come in and talk about Barack as a black president, Barack has firmly and firstly have to be an American. And whatever the agenda say and the agenda roll, he just have to roll. With it, he may have certain ideas, but he certainly cannot put them forward in the way. The only thing we got good for Barack Obama, really, is for him to do 8 years in the presidency, be a fairly good president, and then he can leave the presidency. And if he is true to his people, he will now have the power and the dignity and the respect of the world to address things in Africa, in Kenya, his own country, to address. You understand? That's similar to Jimmy Carter.
He will have built up a platform to then act.
Yes, because people will listen to him now because he was 8 years in the presidency and he's Barack. That's like similar as I said to Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, like you're saying in his afterlife, after his presidency, his next gig, so to speak, can be worldwide ambassador to make some of those causes happen.
Because even in the communities of the urban communities of America, Mr. Obama would be good to come and really play a big role in that, even in 2 to 3 years, because when he goes around these communities, the younger people will certainly come out after he has done a good presidency, because he will have the respect. So they will come out and he can speak to younger black people being very well educated and becoming pilots. And education is the key. Is the key. As much as they want to talk about Mr. Fidel Castro, nearly 90% of his people are very well educated. They are doctors, nurses. He has one of the best medical situations in the world. For a man who is supposed to be so wicked and for a man who don't really have no money, can you imagine if he had money?
It'd be a wicked combination.
There you go. So, as we see the world, my brother, man to man is very unjust. Especially in those terminologies that we bring it, so-called the 1%.
That's the righteous mission of reggae, and I appreciate that you lay it out there. Yeah, for sure, brother Roger. Brother Ian, before I let you go, you've been a good man to sit with me. I really, really appreciate it. Your brother is so passionate about politics. Oh, of course I'll get you. Of course I will, my brother. Any final thoughts on the political situation in Jamaica today? You were there in the PNP. You were going around with Bob. You were like on the bandwagon. You were part of history, and you've seen all these changes. Do you feel like it was an important part of your life, not just musically, but in terms of the future it laid out over there?
As I say, nothing is new under the sun, man. It's just a new face. Just a new face just coming in. You know what I mean?
Same as the old boss.
Yeah.
Like the Who song.
Yeah, it's a new face just come in. But the essence of it is that the people themselves have to really move to the next level. You know what I mean? And that's what the music used to do. The music used to fuel that change. But now the music gone a different place, They talk about drugs, they talk about this, they talk about that, They not talk about, the right thing then. So that's how it comes, it kind of have a little snag, So that's why we are working now to kind of change it, bring it back to the reggae music,
Well, as I told you, brother, I appreciate that you keep the focus because reggae's always been protest music. It's always been music of uprising, music for the the downtrodden, the underclass.
As Bob says still, because, I don't want to wait in vain for your love, So the essence of us as being a whole person, is necessary, So we have to show that we can move from A to B, not just stay one.
Progression.
Yeah, it's necessary.
I was talking with Ziggy about the same thing. Well, I really do appreciate it, and the next time you come through, maybe we'll have you guys come by the studio and do a little thing with, you know, the brothers. We'll have the brothers by the studio and just celebrate all that you guys have been doing for reggae. We do appreciate it.
You know, just giving thanks, you know, that we're still out there doing it and people still appreciating. We like Whirlwind, we coming, was in Colombia, was in Brazil, we just crossing, you know, up a plane flying, which, you know, I'm not a fan of, but I guess it come with the thing, you know.
Come with the territory, brother. Hey, I appreciate it, Brother Ian.
Well, one love, man, and, you know, to all the people of the world, you know, just keep reggae music alive, you know.